This is Computer Insider, Canada's award-winning technology report with Bob Pritchard. This week on Computer Insider, we talk with Intel Canada to find out the story behind the Pentium floating point flaw. Later, we let our fingers do the walking on our keyboards while our CD-ROMs tell us about the 1995 cars. This week on Computer Insider. Computer Insider is brought to you by AST Computer. You'll like the way we work. And Sharp Electronics. From sharp minds come sharp products.
Thank you very much for joining us again this week on Computer Insider. According to preliminary 1994 CD-ROM sales data collected by Infotech, the worldwide installed base of CD-ROM drives grew to 26.9 million units. That's up 137% from 1993. North America accounted for the largest overall increase, followed by the UK, Germany, and Japan. The increase was driven by widespread bundling of CD-ROM drives with new desktop PC systems. Building on the strong momentum established during the Christmas 1993 selling season, worldwide software unit sales were up 161% in 1994, led by consumer demand. Borland International has announced that founder Philippe Kahn has stepped down as president and CEO, but will remain with Borland as chairman. Gary Wetzel, 49, executive vice president of operations and chief financial officer, has been named president and appointed to Borland's board of directors. Kahn, 42, will focus on long-term planning, international business, and other special projects. Delrena has announced an agreement with the Fax Network of Toronto to provide an all-Canadian fax broadcast service for PC users. The service allows users to send up to several thousand facsimile messages virtually simultaneously to locations worldwide. The service is being offered with Delrena WinFax Pro 4.0 and Delrena Communication Suite software sold in Canada. We'll keep you apprised of any changes or more offerings as they come available right here on Computer Insider.
Computer Insider's Industry Insights has been brought to you by QMS, Seamless Network Printing.
Probably the greatest scandal of 1994 in terms of technology was the Intel floating point flaw in their Pentium processor chip. The things that really bothered me about it, first of all, was the way that Intel handled it internally and the length of time it took for them to actually set up what we would call an agreeable corrective program. The other thing that bothered me was the fact that this whole situation was blown completely out of proportion. As always, whenever we see a situation that bothers us, we go to the source. So we went to Intel and one of their manufacturers, AST, to find out directly from them what the flaw was, how it was handled, and what the futures of Intel look like.
Well, what happened is in the summer of last year, we started to get feedback from a variety of mostly academics that they had uncovered, in particular Dr. Nicely, a mathematician, had uncovered a rounding error in a floating point calculation. Now, he'd been running this calculation for quite some time before uncovering this particular flaw. Now, what we did after that point was to look at the circumstances under which this occurred, had a number of conversations back and forth, and started to work on a fix and to identify what the impact would be to the consumer base. Now, because this communication started to appear on internet, it quickly mushroomed into a pretty broad base understanding of the net effect. And everybody on the internet in the academic circles was recreating the particular calculation that exhibited the rounding error.
We didn't have any impact at all in terms of sales, either in our selling into our reseller partners or in terms of their sales through to the consumers at all. Matter of fact, we've seen sales or demand for Pentium skyrocket. It's been very, very strong through the Christmas season and through the last quarter, and it's very strong right now. We saw some change in terms of inquiries from people wanting to know if they encountered a problem, what was the procedure for backing up, and we assured them that we were fully committed to the Pentium product and we were backing it up and that we would exchange it for any reason at all with them if they were uncomfortable with their products that they were buying. But it was just more in terms of inquiries than anything else.
In 1994, we saw tremendous growth in the Pentium processor family. It was the fastest ramp to volume manufacturing of any product we had ever manufactured. And in fact, that didn't slow down at all through Christmas, even though there was a lot of attention on Pentium processors and the FPU flaw. So clearly the consumer understood the circumstances in many cases, just continue to buy those systems. Now, in 1995, we expect to see that continue again, and rapidly the Pentium processor will replace many of the 46 family products to the consumer as the prices start to come down into those magic price points. And we'll introduce higher speed family, members of the Pentium processor family. In addition, the successor to the Pentium processor, codenamed P6, will appear sometime during this year in volume. And so that will give people a tremendous amount of performance headroom in the Intel family.
Well, a good lesson that we learned is to be proactive in the communications of any potential problems and make sure you keep confidence in the marketplace and the consumer and the products that are being shipped. Even when it's a very minor flaw, which is really only technical in nature, it doesn't really affect any real performance of the computer itself.
Well, we haven't released much information on P6. What we are saying is that it will be about 6 million transistors, so roughly twice the number in the Pentium, and it'll be 2 to 3 times the performance of the 100 megahertz Pentium processor. So we've got a lot of performance available now in the Intel family.
There's a major lesson to be learned from how the Intel flaw was handled. First of all, regardless of what industry you're in, you really have to come clean with consumers and offer very comfortable corrective policies. The other thing is, of course, to make sure that everybody understands what you're doing with your products. Speaking about understanding what you're doing, if you're looking at technology information, you should be dialing into our Fax on Demand system and getting a free copy of our weekly fax news service. No charge to you, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Upcoming, we've heard a lot of talk about the internet and how to get on it and what to do with it. Today, we're going to go hands-on and go for a trip on the internet on Computer Insider.
If you want to attract more business, you've got to work together. We all have our own special visions of where we want to be and how we want to work, wherever we are. At AST, we build computers to meet your worldview with award-winning products, service, and support. From notebooks to super servers, AST Computer. You'll like the way we work.
Question: what prints, faxes, scans, and makes perfect copies? Answer: the QMS 2001 Plain Paper Laser Knowledge System, the 600 DPI high-performance printer that does it all. Easy to install, the QMS 2001 works with your Windows PC to integrate all of these capabilities into one very affordable, dynamic business system. It's your office in a box. Call 1-800-263-5508 for the dealer nearest you.
When John Nagy joined CompuServe, he was new at computing and an old hand on the mountain. He joined to get more out of his computer and more out of life. On CompuServe, as on the mountain, there was always something to discover, like the solution to a software problem that wasn't in the manual, or being one of the first to know about that special vacation spot and how to save time and money getting there. The mountain was a source of satisfaction he would never outgrow. In a way, a lot like CompuServe. For more information, call 1-800-554-4088. Start with the basics, news, travel, and encyclopedia, and more for just $8.95 a month. Then go beyond for free software and help with hardware and software problems. You'll get more out of your computer and more out of life. CompuServe, the information service you won't outgrow.
Well, there's a lot of hype about the internet, about what to do and how to go out and do it and what you can find and how it's going to make your life so wonderful you won't know what to do with yourself afterwards. But the reality is, like many things in technology, that there are many ways of getting to your source, your conclusion. I wanted to go into some detail today on the internet, not so much about what you can do on it, but how you can get onto the internet. What kinds of opportunities are available? Should you be using a DOS access or a Windows access? About the types of ways you would log on and how it can help you be a better consumer of computer information.
We are a full-service internet access provider. We offer everything from standard dial-up access to get onto the global internet, right up to high-capacity bandwidth, as far up as T3 capacity for people who need big pipes and move a lot of data on the internet. Okay, the first thing I'd like to show you is accessing a DOS-based system that will give you full access to the internet. We're going to use a terminal program under Windows called Procom. So here we log into the system, enter user ID and password, scroll through the initial and system announcement screens, and we're on a DOS-based system. At this point, we could go to the internet itself, and these are the services available in a text format to access the internet. As you can see, there's internet email, there's Telnet, there's FTP, Archie, IRC, World Wide Web using a text-based viewer. On the internet, a lot of our customers utilize it for email. They utilize it to talk to a lot of their suppliers, customers. Some of our customers are now building databases of their own whereby people on the internet can access information regarding them. They use it for a variety of as research tools. They use it to track financial data. It's limited. I mean, it's unlimited in terms of what they can do on the internet in accessing information. They even use it to read newspapers daily. Now we're going to access the internet utilizing some specialized software called Gateway, which is a graphical user interface. It runs under Windows and allows you to connect to a Gopher server at an internet access provider who is running the specialized server software that works with this client front end and has put everything into a Windows format, point and click icons, and has graphicalized a Gopher server. So we'll connect. This software will check your modem, it will check the port, it will hang up the modem, it will reset the modem, and automatically dial. Everything is pre-configured for you when you set up the software. This software is nice in the fact that upon login, it will automatically load your mailbox and transfer any new incoming mail to your system automatically and allow you to read it and respond to it. The mail is removed off the server site and is stored on your local machine so you don't have to worry about losing it. As you can see, we just received mail here. So if I wanted to read that message now, I would double click on the mailbox. Let me make it full screen. So at this point, I could just read the message and respond if I would like to, save it, forward it on to a friend or to an associate, or delete it. Minimize your mailbox. It's still stored at the bottom, and let's go off and look at an FTP site by clicking on Files. Key in a name of a site that you may have in mind. We'll use one that seems to be very popular, and that's Microsoft's, ftp.microsoft.com. Click on Go. We'll move this little window over. And we're on Microsoft in Redmond, Washington right now. And this is a graphical representation of their FTP site, or file transfer site. And through here, we could go in, double click on one of the selected items, such as software library. And if we click on MSL files, this will give us a file listing available on the Microsoft site for downloading or transferring to your machine locally. To access the internet, the minimum requirements would be a 386 computer or higher, MS-DOS 5.0 or higher, any other type of operating system if you're comfortable with Unix, Windows, which is, or OS2 can be utilized to access the internet. You will need a modem, minimal modem of at least 9600 baud. And that's all you would need, and some public domain software or commercial software that is a terminal emulator, but some of that comes built into the software, such as Windows or OS2 already.
Like all things involving communications, there are a couple of things that you should keep in mind when going onto the net. First of all, a good communications package will make your life a lot easier, and also a good modem will work better for you, and by good I mean fast modem. If you haven't already bought a modem, you might consider moving into the 28.8 category, which is really the fastest speed that people use for direct dial-up. However, older modems are still acceptable. All our equipment's equipped for the most part with 14.4, and we have a couple of machines working at 9600. But modem speed will make information come through to you much faster. The last thing to consider on the net is don't panic about time. assume it's going to take a while to figure out how to use it, and remember, it's really all not that expensive, so take advantage of the situation. Speaking about taking advantage of things, our Fax on Demand is available for you. It's a free service, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If there's anything you want to tell us about, drop us a note to our fax mailbox. Coming up, have you found it a bit perplexing to try and figure out what it is you want in a new car? We have some help for you next on Computer Insider.
Only Sharp presentation systems deliver the winning combination. Don't miss your next opportunity. Get the Sharp Edge. From a family of incredibly vivid computer projection panels to our convergence-free LCD projectors, you too can have multimedia presentation power like never before. Up to 16 million colors in computer, video, or combined. Sharp presentation systems and you, the winning combination.
Two days until the presentation. Plenty of time to pull it all together.
Hi, Marcy. Sorry, the deadline moved up 24 hours. See you in the morning.
Looks like a long night ahead. With her AST computer, she'll make it on time. AST computers in support for a winning performance. From notebooks to super servers, AST computer. You'll like the way we work.
Today's marketplace demands more information delivered faster than ever before. D-Link helps make that happen. D-Link manufactures network interfaces. D-Link connects computer systems with bridges and routers. D-Link writes network management software. D-Link manufactures computer networking and internetworking products to bring this world closer together. D-Link Corporation. Question: what prints, faxes, scans, and makes perfect copies? Answer: the QMS 2001 Plain Paper Laser Knowledge System, the 600 DPI high-performance printer that does it all. Easy to install, the QMS 2001 works with your Windows PC to integrate all of these capabilities into one very affordable, dynamic business system. It's your office in a box. Call 1-800-263-5508 for the dealer nearest you.
So you've managed to survive the recession, you've been living with the same car for the last 250,000 years, and now it's time to go out into the marketplace and find out what would be a good bargain or a good vehicle for you to drive. What are your options? Get some magazines, go dealership to dealership. But there's another way with computer-based technology. In fact, I've had a lot of fun with this CD-ROM, sitting down to look at all of the cars that are on the marketplace, all of the different options available, the consumer reports, the crash tests, the miles per gallon, and everything else. So without further ado, let's have a look at the 1995 Car Buyer's Guide CD-ROM. The important thing to remember that this is a CD-ROM that we're using, and we actually want to use this instead of turning to a book to get the information that we're after. So how do you start? Well, you have many options open by going to Stock Searches, or to come down here and develop your own search. In fact, when I was using the system, initially I did the stock searches, but I found that they really didn't work out too well. So I went to the custom searches to be able to put in all the information I wanted to on the car. In fact, you have a whole section of different criteria that you can put into the search. You can start off up into this area here, and it's going to give you various options you can put into it. We went for the 4x4 type vehicle with 4 doors. You can set up other areas in here. Right now we're going to go for, let's go for the automatic transmission. And it's doing a search through the database on the CD-ROM, going through all the criteria. I also selected all of the so-called creature comforts, air conditioning, power windows, power everything. I mean, what the heck, it's a car. We're going to enjoy it. It's gone through the list, given us some suggestions, and I've clicked on one of the suggestions just to see what more information we get. What's happening here is I've said to the system I would prefer to have the car in a different color. So it's giving us an array of colors. We've gone through, made a selection, a nice mauve Jeep. Actually, let's put it back to the way it was. By clicking on this icon, it gives us a chance to see what the interior of the vehicle is all about. Also, by selecting the icon for engine and engine options, we can go through and select down through here various types of things we want to put into the car, and it will build up our list and our pricing and all the rest of it. So when we go and face that elusive salesperson, we'll have a lot of information on hand about the vehicle that we want to look at. Right now we're in the consumer report section, and what it's going to do is, again, show us the picture of the car. Plus it gives us a complete breakdown of all of the elements of the car itself. what's in it, its miles per gallon, its safety reports, the type of tires, the type of motor. All of the options that you've listed are listed in here, so that when you are doing a comparative analysis between 2, 3, 4, or 5 cars, you have all the information that you need to make the right kind of decision. There's some other things I wanted to tell you about the package which really impressed me. First of all was the custom searching. Secondly, it had all the pricing, not only the retail price, but also it had the dealer invoice price. Now I think they get other discounts that they're not telling us about, but it does give you an upper hand in negotiations. Also, there's an entire section on the CD-ROM that talks about how to buy a car, what's important, how to build a resale value, and there's a calculator function that will go through your income and expenses and give you an idea about how much money you can actually afford to spend on the vehicle. Now, let's head back over to the studio and we'll check out the technical stats on the CD-ROM. If I was going to consider downstrokes to the CD-ROM, it would have to be obviously that all the pricing is in US dollars, so to convert it to Canadian pesos is very difficult. So I think you have to go to your dealership and find out exactly where the conversion rates come in terms of sticker prices versus the computer prices. Another thing that I wasn't so thrilled with is that when you go into a slower CD-ROM or an older computer, the screen rates are a little bit slower, so always get the most processing power and the most CD-ROM power that you can for your computer system. Don't forget, if you want a copy of our free fax newsletter, to call our fax on demand system because it's got all the latest information. Curious about what's happening in the world of printing? So are we, next on Computer Insider.
Only sharp presentation systems deliver the winning combination. Don't miss your next opportunity. Get the sharp edge. From a family of incredibly vivid computer projection panels to our convergence-free LCD projectors, you too can have multimedia presentation power like never before. Up to 16 million colors in computer, video, or combined. Sharp presentation systems and you, the winning combination.
Today's marketplace demands more information delivered faster than ever before. D-Link helps make that happen. D-Link manufactures network interfaces. D-Link connects computer systems with bridges and routers. D-Link writes network management software. D-Link manufactures computer networking and internetworking products to bring this world closer together. D-Link Corporation. Computer Insider is brought to you by Maxell. From floppy disks and data cartridges to leading-edge optical disks, Maxell computer products are 100% tested, certified, and guaranteed. At Maxell, high performance runs in the family.
When we look at the world of printing, we see usually a machine sitting there with paper shooting out of the end of it. But things are changing in the printing world. New applications, new ways of moving data. So rather than me trying to speculate on how it all might or might not work, I invited Dan Rachimsky from QMS Canada to join us today. And Dan, I wanted to start off by asking you a little bit about these new I'll call them multi-purpose appliances or printers that we're seeing surfacing in the office environment and the home environment.
Oh, Bob, there's no question that over the last 20 years, QMS has been watching markets and trends very, very carefully. The multifunction market is one that we have made a decision to go into with the introduction of our 2001, and it's a trend that you're going to see in some of our larger products, more of the corporate type products, leading right up to our 45-page and beyond printers. But if we were to focus at the market, the primary market that seems to be of special interest to the manufacturers, it's the telecommuting market. It's the corporations that are sitting there saying, we don't have the ability to offer the space and the resources and the facilities, and in many cases they don't want to because of the time to commute, the cost and the loss of resources of these people that are spending so much time on the road. So in many cases what we're finding is that the home office, either for the individual who has a business working at home, or in often cases the government or the commercial large organizations are asking their people to consider to work at home, and in doing so they need to have the tools and the resources to work with. A device such as the 2001, which is our multifunction device that fits perfectly into that market, is especially well suited since it incorporates copying and scanning and printing and faxing, and combined with a CPU of a notebook or a desktop computer, it offers some incredible functionality for that individual working at the home.
Dan, I've always seen the printer as just a machine sitting beside me that prints out the things I want to. How is the role of the printer changing in the modern business environment?
The kind of applications and the uses that we're finding and we're positioning our products to respond to are the today's uses of the printer or document processing, which includes every company is trying to cut back on costs. Things like courier costs. Every day you hear, let's cut back on our courier costs. QMS has developed a very sophisticated response through the use of distributed printing, where the multinational, the organization with multiple branches and offices, especially when we're talking about things like telecommuting, as we talked a little bit earlier, the ability to send from the host, wherever the host is, in whatever city, whatever country, whatever building, and sending that file to the printer in whatever city, reducing the time that it takes to distribute the information and reducing the costs of sending that information, whether it be by courier or by transport. Very, very integral in areas like pharmaceutical with huge reports that have to go to the government for approval. Distributed printing, electronic forms. Today's day and age, and if you were to talk to some of the forms companies, you find that there's a great change in what's happening in the market, where companies are adapting the electronic forms application and having the form resident on their host, and in our case, on our printers, in which we have hard disk drives and processing, to allow them to produce the forms as required and not having to worry about spending horrendous amounts of dollars and using up very, very large amounts of warehouse space in their buildings. These are two very distinct and very clear applications of our technology today.
Thank you very much, Dan.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me here today.
Dan Drachimsky is with QMS Canada and joined us today to tell us about many of the new applications that printers are being used as. Speaking about new applications, we have the latest summary of computer industry news available to you on our Fax on Demand system. Give us a call to the first number on the screen and get the latest insight in what's happening in the computer industry. Coming up, is computing making your life easier or more difficult? We'll look at that in some detail on Computer Insider.
Question: what prints, faxes, scans, and makes perfect copies? Answer: the QMS 2001 Plain Paper Laser Knowledge System, the 600 DPI high-performance printer that does it all. Easy to install, the QMS 2001 works with your Windows PC to integrate all of these capabilities into one very affordable, dynamic business system. It's your office in a box. Call 1-800-263-5508 for the dealer nearest you.
If you want to attract more business, you've got to work together. We all have our own special visions of where we want to be and how we want to work, wherever we are. At AST, we build computers to meet your worldview with award-winning products, service, and support. From notebooks to super servers, AST Computer. You'll like the way we work.
Is technology making your life easier or more difficult? These are things that we should be looking at as users. Many times I speak to people who are worried about how well they're learning their software or whether they're going fast enough or getting enough results. And I think that that's a wrong approach to the use of technology. The reality is that computers are supposed to be making our lives easier. For example, in my household, we really don't use switches to turn things on and off. Our stereos and TVs are remote controlled, and all our lights and some of our appliances are run by a system called the 10X system, which is computer-based, which turns lights on and off and dims them, which makes our life much more easy to manage. Another thing to keep in mind is that we keep looking at technology as maybe a business application, and in reality, technology has a wonderful role in terms of making our lives easier in terms of knowing what to do or what games to play. For example, recently we got a device that took the SVGA output from our computer and made it into the same sort of signal that you can see on a TV set. The net result is that we have a computer plugged into our home theater so that we're able to play some computer games as a family unit instead of as individuals on standalone PCs. The other advantage of this sort of network is that because we're wired into other computers in the household, we have the ability of playing multi-user games, and those that aren't so good at the games can sit and watch on a big TV set. Whatever you do with your computer, make sure that it's fun and not a job, and you'll do much better with it. I'm Bob Pritchard, and this is Computer Insider.
Computer Insider has been brought to you by AST Computer. You'll like the way we work. Sharp Electronics. From sharp minds come sharp products.